It's not surprising that Supermassive Games did the exact same thing for PlayStation VR2, except this time, we're playing around in the Dark Pictures anthology universe. Rush of Blood, which Supermassive Games created for the original PlayStation VR launch, was a hit when it combined the Ultimate Dawn universe with a roller coaster. You start Switchback VR while on a train with several other individuals who will later reappear in even more horrible conditions. We're thrust into a roller coaster after an explosion and a brief appearance by the painfully silent Pip Torrens as the curator, just because that's how the game will function. The game's fundamental gameplay concepts are the same as in Rush of Blood. You control two guns with infinite ammo in each hand, and you can blast crates to obtain time-limited upgrades that grant you access to revolvers, shotguns, and submachine guns. Kill the bad guys to win and survive. It's that easy. The levels are all really pretty long for a VR shooter, drawing inspiration from each of the original four The Dark Pictures games. Each level is divided into two sections, the first based on the 2019 film Man of Medan, has the coaster speeding through a ghost ship before Little Hope shifts the action to a creepy forest town. After that, we continue with the Devil in Mi's Murder Hotel, before heading to Iraqi tombs and caves for the House of Ashes. I should warn you that those games contain spoilers, especially the plot twist in House of Ashes. The story of the train catastrophe and the monster Belial comes to an end in the fifth environment, which is a brand new setting. Although I found the Little Hope setting to be pretty basic, some of the levels work really well. For example, a roller coaster racing over the waves of a wrecked ship is really quite amazing. VR and creepy woodlands have been combined before. The third level, which is set among caves and tombs with enormous statues and tremendous drops down to the side of the track, is by far the greatest. It has an impact that you could only really achieve in virtual reality and feels novel. While the majority of the game is straight-out shooting, there are a few easy puzzles, including a segment per level where you must attempt to rescue one of your buddies from the train. Each level has a branching road, and you can select which path to take to provide some variety to replace. In addition to the standard weapons, you may also receive UV lights, flare guns, and stun guns at different times, all of which must be utilized on particular targets. The saw-style traps and ability to mangle your enemies between metal plates makes the stun weapons especially entertaining. When the VR is fully utilized, the set pieces and boss confrontations bring the game to life. Just wait till there are 20 of them creepily slithering along the walls and ceiling, threatening to rip your eyeballs out if you thought the horror standard of scary baby dolls was unnerving. The non-combat elements, such as the one where you go into a disgusting, squishy environment where your face goes in places a face should never go, work incredibly well. Switchback VR makes excellent use of the Ps Vr2 headset. I had the impression that I was a dual-wielding action hero because of the great haptic feedback on the Sense controllers and headgear. By relocating adversaries when you blink or when they're not immediately in your line of sight, the game also creatively leverages eye tracking to keep things moving in your peripheral view. The audio is excellent, with the music heightening the suspense and thumps and screams coming from behind the camera, really making you jump. While aim assist isn't particularly evident during a conflict, it is quite noticeable when you're in a quieter area shooting vases for additional points. You can hit a small object that is 25 meters away without even really aiming. It's a bit strange. I can't really criticize the fact that nearly every horror trope you can think of is in the game. From eerie dolls to mannequins, witches, scarecrows, bats, spinning circular saws, and even facehuggers. Given that the Dark Pictures series was developed to bring the full breadth of genre horror into gaming, even the manner in which the final boss battle unfolds is predictable. Surprisingly, the monsters are varied enough to avoid becoming monotonous, and jump scares are applied rarely, but well. I appreciate how the designers took the time to make each and every aspect of the game intriguing. Even in the more sedate parts, you can turn to look down side corridors and catch a glimpse of something scurrying around in the shadows. Unfortunately, While being a PlayStation VR2 exclusive, the Dark Pictures Switchback VR doesn't feel like it. There are some enemies that are quite roughly animated, and while mannequins will always move stiffly, it does break immersion when a slimy worm levitates off a wall and floats towards you rather than jumping in an arc. The polygon count feels rather low overall and makes the game look more like a PS4 title. At other points, the hand animation strategy actually helps the game, as the spooky sailor girl stalks off the screen in a way that could never have been motion recorded. However, there is an awful lot of pop-in at games. In some places, detail appears when something is too close to you, while in others, the forest just continues reproducing in front of me. Even though it doesn't happen often, when your nerves are frayed and everything catches your attention, it can still be incredibly distracting. Ooh, is that an adversary there? No, it's a rock that wasn't properly loaded in. I'm hoping that Supermassive can keep improving this with some updates. If you wish to try for high scores across the 3 difficulty levels, there are online leaderboards where you can check who's best among your friends or the entire world. Its length of more than 3 hours is excellent for a VR shooter, and unlike many others in the genre, it did get monotonous because of the variety of foes, routes, and weaponry. That's what I got about Switchback PSVR2, and subscribe for more VR updates!